Noelle Downing, welcome to the Mom Curious podcast. We are beyond thrilled. Laura has been gunning for a long time. She's been gunning for this episode for a long time because we love your style.
Oh my God, thank you. I feel so honored. I'm glad I wear a good outfit.
Such a good outfit. We love your style. We love your message. Your baby is cute.
Oh my God, Ever's so cute. I'm so obsessed with her. So obsessed with her.
And you're in the portal. I was just saying, and also welcome to motherhood, right?
Thank you.
Because it's the first year. This is a big deal.
No, the first year is so, everybody said it's really hard, but it's really fast. And I now coming out almost on the other side, I can say that is so true. And I actually wish I would have embraced the newborn stage a little bit more.
What does that mean?
I feel like I definitely had the baby blues for probably 7 weeks-ish or so. And I guess they call it the blues whenever it doesn't last longer than some amount of time around there.
Do you want to define it? Just so in case someone doesn't know what the baby blues are?
I don't want to give my own definition and not be 100% accurate.
What to you?
For me, what happened for me was, first, I just want to say if you do suffer from postpartum or for postpartum depression or the postpartum blues, you're not alone. And it happens to so many women, and it's something that's not talked about very often. And I feel like it's finally becoming more talked about. And for me, every day I could have the best day. I could be living my dream life, as I would say every day. I've wanted this baby for so long. And, my husband did take time off from his job, and we would go to the park and go on these beautiful walks and blah, blah, blah. And when the sun would set every single day, it didn't matter what I was doing, the tears would just fall. I mean, I could be eating dinner outside, Aperol spritz in hand, and the tears would just start falling. Every single day when the sun set. And I started getting in this habit of doing, anytime I kind of go through a dark time, I'll start writing in my 5-minute journal. And so me and my husband started doing that together just to reflect on all of the blessings that I have and how, just I think putting into perspective that today really was a great day. And that helped me with, because you feel lost, you feel
it's confusing.
Yeah, it's really confusing. And I felt so alone, even though other women were messaging me, because I was openly talking about it and telling me that I wasn't alone, you just do, because it's not something that you have control over. It's just happening, and it's just how you feel. And again, certain days,
normal.
Yeah, and it's normal. And certain days, for example, especially my younger years, when I would sleep in, that was always I would feel so off, and just this sense of sadness, looming sadness for the rest of the day. And so now I kind of know to wake up early. It wasn't I could do anything that made me feel it was a habit.
You love the sun. The sun loves you.
It was but I guess this is a common occurrence for the sun setting to be a marker of the end of a day. But because of that period being hard for me, bringing it back to what I was saying before, is I kind of wanted that time to go by faster, I think, because I didn't want to feel that way anymore.
Yeah.
But now knowing that, and even if it didn't go away, there is help out there. My doctor was so understanding about, if you really do feel this way again, sometimes it could pick up later on and you could feel this way again. We have so many options for you. I love my OB.
Do you want to give them a shout out? Because you already mentioned
Dr. Ravi Kumar. You're the best.
This is a guy?
No, it's a woman.
Oh,
she's
nice.
Amazing. And I'll never forget whenever she showed up whenever I was about to give. Turns out I was dilated quicker than they thought I would be, and me and my husband just started crying because we were so relieved that she was there.
This was in labor.
Yeah, very high stress times. But I think knowing that, I would have gone back in time to embrace the moment that I was in a little bit more.
My angel. You did a great fucking job.
Thank you.
That was embracing the moment. That was. That's what that was.
Yeah.
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 That sense of mommy guilt and remorse and regret is so prevalent in literally all of us because we don't have control over time.
Yeah.
And we don't have control over how fast they grow.
Yeah.
And we don't have control over
so
much.
Cute and depressing how fast they grow.
I know. You were just saying that she's going to turn 1.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I think a lot of people feel that way about the newborn period because no one gives them the heads up. And, you know, this is what we're here for, is give you a heads up.
Here's your heads up.
It does go by very fast. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah,
It goes by very fast. You're going to be sleep deprived. You're going to be stretched
You're going to be so
You're going to be
deprived.
stressed.
But then maybe you'll have weeks where you get it back.
Yeah.
And then you have a hard night and it's nothing like the hard nights were before.
But you know what's really interesting is that imprint of that time never, ever, ever goes away.
Yeah.
It like always stays with you. So it's not like you missed out. You didn't miss out. That was your experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I feel like I always try to think of advice that I wish someone would have given me. And the biggest advice for us was I feel like nobody prepared us for how sleep deprived you would be. Like, I think you forget, I think it's human, like that in order for our bodies to want us to make more babies, we like forget about what this hardship that we went through. But holy shit.
I didn't forget.
I mean, yeah. I feel like I'm still not that far away from it. But nobody told me. Like, they'd be like, oh, yeah, make sure you, like, get on a good sleep schedule. But it wasn't, you are going to be tested in a way you have never been tested before. Although I will say occasionally I meet people who have like these angel babies and they just sleep totally fine. And I mean, Jesus is on their side.
I need to tell you that Jesus is on their side and only their side. There are like a handful of them and they make us all feel like shit.
Yeah.
So like, and there are some people who are much more
Some of them have
adept.
the snoo. We did not get the snoo.
I got the snoo and I was freaked out so I couldn't use it.
Oh my God.
I like bought the snoo.
What's a snoo?
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Oh my God.
Okay. So the snoo is this like, this baby bassinet that rocks the child to sleep. Now I got this. Guys,
it's like a robot bassinet.
6 years ago, I was like an early adapter, and then I turned it on, and it like rocked the baby, and I was like, I can't do it, and then promptly, didn't sleep for 6 years.
Yeah,
but
wouldn't it rock its brain? Isn't that
no,
like not?
It's not like that's not the concern.
It looked too intense for me.
The concern, I guess it will. It's really supposed to mimic, especially thinking about when they're first born, the mimic of, no, not even that, what it feels like to be rocking in your stomach, like you walking around. Because that's a lot of the time when they would be lulled to sleep. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes the rocking is pretty intense. The main reason why people have like not wanting to use the snoo and they have this negative thing in their head is because then people say transitioning from that, and it's small, it's like just a bassinet, to a like big kid crib, if you will, then they won't sleep in it because they need that movement to be lulled to sleep, right?
There's that.
But for you, it was like the actual movement like freaked you out a little.
Totally. And there are people who are so much, have like a real tolerance for sleep training, which I didn't have. Like there are so many variables to why people, there are people with Jesus on their side around sleep.
Yeah.
And why there are not. And like, I just want to say that for most people, you're going to be sleep deprived for some period of time. Babies need your help. They don't have a frontal lobe. They've never lived on this earth before. Like,
no, it's terrifying. I feel for them. I really do.
Feel for you, but also, can you just sleep? When did she start sleeping through the night? Did that happen yet?
Yes, she's good. She actually, a few weeks ago, we transferred her to her own room. And since then, my quality of life has just skyrocketed. But she's actually teething right now. But she's still been pretty good, actually. It's not as bad as when the first two teeth came in. That was rough. But she sleeps really good. It was just so hard in the beginning. I remember, there was just one night, sorry, I hit the microphone. There was one night where, I talk with my hands a lot. There was one night, I say one night, it was probably like 3 days, where we really, the non-sleep was adding up. We probably had total like 3 or 4 hours of sleep at this point. And my mother-in-law, I love my mother-in-law. I have a blessed, like beautiful, amazing mother-in-law. And she sent us an email telling us like just that how, ever needs us for everything. It was just really beautiful, and I'm not going to capture it, but it was exactly what we needed to hear at the time in this moment where it was so rough for us, and I think she was just thinking about us in that moment. And me and Danny just both start like sobbing reading this email about how, we're her whole world to her. So, she's adjusting to this new world, blah, blah. It was so beautiful. And that also was like one of the darkest times, like in the beginning. So we really needed that email. And from then I was like, we got this. And we started watching some like baby. I think that once we got into a rotation of like, what do they call it? It's like eat, play, sleep or whatever.
Eat, play, sleep.
Yeah. Once we started doing that during the day, because in the beginning you're so tired that you just do want to hold the baby breast and just like rest too. And I was like, no, we have to sleep at night. And because I think that was also tying to like how funky I was feeling and everything. So once I went full like trainer mode on that, it really helped. But that was hard for me just to get to that place.
It's hard. I'm proud of you for doing it.
I was like, we have to do this.
Yeah, you have to. Well, I think it's pretty amazing that you kept your work up all this time.
Yeah.
Is that really important to you?
I'd say it's really important to me. There's definitely days that I wake up and I'm like, do I just want to be like a full-time stay-at-home mom and not like, and I don't think that goes away based on talking to like certain moms. I think sometimes you just feel that way.
My sister-in-law worked. She has four boys. She worked full-time, hardcore until they were, all in middle school. And then she took off, I think for maybe 2 years. She took off and she was like, I wasn't like a baby person. She was great. She's like an amazing mother. She's like, I didn't feel like I wanted to be there at home when they were babies, but now I get to like do homework with them. I get to, be with them and talk to them about their lives. Like it's not like we need to stop our lives right when we have babies and make those decisions. Like every day, every year, every phase, we have the right.
Yeah, yeah.
Based on our life circumstances and being responsible, we have the right to pause, to go back.
Social media is not kind to that though.
Tell me. Oh, the algorithm.
That's like, yeah.
Tell me what you do for work. Tell me.
I, for lack of a better term, am an influencer or content creator. I feel like that's a little bit more of a...
I like it.
But for some people, you say influencer and they either have something negative in their head or they like influencers and they totally get it.
Well, I like what you do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I think you live really artfully.
Thank you.
That your message is helpful. I feel like you were saying, like all those babies with Jesus on their side and their mothers who are sleeping somehow at 2 weeks in and whatever. Bless them, but also, they have the time to pump out a lot of content that isn't necessarily supportive for everyone. I think it can be supportive for some people, but I think your voice is really helpful in this world.
Yeah.
Not to mention beautiful. Visually.
I'm an open
beautiful.
book.
Yeah.
That's
and we appreciate
who I am.
that.
I can't help but be that. And there's times where I feel like that shocks people in an off-putting way, but...
Does it?
Yeah. I think living in New York, there's so many different types of people. And I'm always just like... And I always say I'm just like a normal girl. Like I'm just normal. But
you're a normal girl with like profound talent. I mean, you're.
Thank you.
So you're an influencer, but you are in the niche of fashion.
Yeah,
design.
in the niche of fashion, a little bit of like home decor, and I feel like that's a lot of my TikTok is like home decor.
The home decor is, let's not minimize the home decor
oh my God.
Great.
What you've done the home decor.
We're literally
so
here
much. That's like my passion project.
What you've done with the house upstate is really quite phenomenal. And I will say, I just have to give you this compliment, Noelle. You have been an open book and have been doing this way before you were even a mom. I mean,
for a decade, I realized.
You have been open about your parents. You have been, which I'm sure has helped many people going through similar experiences.
Yeah.
You've been extremely open about your body and body positivity, which personally has like been huge for me. I mean, to see another girl with, lack of a better term, giant boobs.
Yeah.
And just like out living your best life is like super fortifying. Like, I can do that too. I don't have to like walk around with like, you know, like the most extreme, insane bra and like I'm not like a buttoned up shirt, which is hilarious because it's, you know, but
that's what
hey, button up shirts are cute too though.
But you know, you really have like just completely elevated women and uplifted the spirit of the collective, like, which is kind of the premise of the show that we've created here, right? So it's just, I love when people, like, these types of moments come together. My bracelets are jangling.
Oh, you can't see me, but I'm blushing.
And
or maybe you can't see me.
They can see you. They can't see me. And what I'll just say is like, thank you. Thank you for holding the space for all of us, because it's truly, you have taken us through every journey, you know, with you for, like you said, the last 10 years, you know, and it's remarkable. Thank you for being open, because so many people that do create content are not particularly open. And then
it's
to Daniela's point,
people are mean.
Not as helpful. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, tell us about that, please.
Oh my God, there's
people
a
are mean
whole...
to you online. I'm sorry. There was one. I mean, it wasn't actually mean, but like even the comments around your body postpartum.
Yeah.
And your response is like, "What? I just had a baby and breastfed. My body,
that
like, my weight's
Q&A
gonna
question.
fluctuate."
Yeah, I was like, it's funny because I actually read the question and didn't even think about that. I was like, yeah, my body fluctuates. And my assistant was like, well, yeah, you just grew a baby, like carried a baby and birthed a baby and then breastfed the baby. And I was like, oh shit, you're right. Like,
and you looked beautiful the entire way through.
Thank you. But it was just like funny because I didn't even like think about it when the person sent the question in, but I get why some people don't want to share the vulnerability of just putting it all out there.
Yeah, I struggle with that.
It's hard. It's like hard to sometimes. Like, if I'm a big advocate of like, don't put it all out there if you feel like your cup is like, you're not taking care of yourself first. So sometimes people will ask me, I'm trying to think of a top. For example, our bunny, right around the time, which sounds silly, it was a bunny, but it was like our first baby that Danny and I got together. And right around the time I actually found out I was pregnant, but Monty was the bunny's name, he passed away. And then like 2 weeks later, I actually found out that I was pregnant. And I've never really talked about it online because it's not really something, it's like hard for me. Like I start crying like so much of the time talking about it. So, you know, there's certain things that I don't talk about that I feel like I am still healing from, or I feel uncomfortable talking about. Both my parents have passed away when I was younger, so that's something that I'm very comfortable talking about. And I think that you can feel alone in the experiences of life and navigating that without parents. And that's like a big reason why I talk about that. And then I think sometimes I feel like I don't even talk about it that much, but then there's certain people that are like, oh, this girl, she won't stop talking about her dead parents. And I'm like,
you know what? I don't think that's true at all.
Yeah.
I feel like
I don't talk about it that much.
No, you don't. In fact, I think we should take a moment to ask, well, tell us more.
Yeah,
because there are people in this situation, especially like having a baby.
Yeah,
into the world. You were just talking
crazy.
about your mother-in-law and how helpful she was.
Yeah.
Thank God for her.
No, yeah, I'm so thankful for her. And I think that's a big part of why our bond is so strong, is because my mom passed when I was 7 of colon cancer. And I was so little that I don't really remember like any of my mom's mannerisms. I don't remember what her voice sounded like. I don't remember like the way that she held herself. Like so many little things that I think now, having a daughter, I think about if she would remember me, if, you know, just the journey of that. But so she passed when I was 7 of colon cancer. And then my dad, when I was 16, passed away of a massive heart attack randomly. It wasn't like we saw it coming or anything like that. And I always say that because there's such a big difference of like death that you expect and death that you don't expect.
And you know that difference.
And I know both of them, yes. And they're both horrible. But it also is so different losing someone when you're 16 and losing someone when you're 7. And my dad, I actually can remember like silly little things. My mom, I almost exclusively remember the night that she died, which at that point she was really like gone, and it, you know, she wasn't fully there. But And I kind of remember she loved flamingos. So we had this one bathroom that was filled with flamingos. And we used to take a shower together a lot. And that's like one of the only other things that I remember is like the joy and closeness that I felt like I have that feeling like somewhere in me that I can feel. And those are like the only two things that I feel. Yeah, we pretty much always take a bath together, actually. Yay. It's so annoying to take out like the baby baths and stuff. I'd rather just get in the bath with her, honestly.
I felt the same way, by the way.
Yeah.
I also just like really enjoyed, I couldn't really breastfeed for very long, and I knew that skin to skin in general, they say it right after birth, but skin to skin, person to person is so important. Yeah. And so I just always loved bathing with my babies.
Yeah. Ever loves being naked too, so.
Bless her. Although she has really cute clothes.
Yeah, she does have have really cute clothes. I've actually had to cut myself off a little because she has too many clothes.
Yeah, because then she grows out of them so quickly.
Yeah, she does. Especially, like, I feel like in the last month she's gone through a big growth spurt and I had to, like, go through the clothes and I was like, oh my God, this is so depressing.
It's crazy.
My baby.
Do you think you're going to have another one? That's a really personal question.
No. I just really went for it. It's A-okay. I
only say that because you could keep the clothes.
I know. I have been keeping like some of my favorites for sure. I'm like, even if I don't, I think it's cute to hand some down to her. Again, I think of all these things that I didn't get and I don't have anything from when I was little. Danny's mom actually has some stuff from when he was little. I think it's so hard because I have a friend who has 2 kids and sometimes she's like, man, we should have stopped at 1. But then I feel like when they're older, and then I think about the element of, you know, what if Danny and I did pass away and Ever was the only one and like what happened to me?
Because you're an only child.
No, I'm not. I'm not. So I had other siblings, but I'm like, imagine if she didn't, you know, like, would that be harder for her? And I think it would be.
And that's a real concern.
Yeah.
Because it happened.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like, yeah, I think the probability of it happening is not very likely, but in my mind, it feels like a very real thing. And Danny, though, has a 5-year age difference between all of his siblings, and I kind of like that. I definitely am nowhere near ready. I'm not having 2 under 2. I'm not having, unless an accident happens, which I really hope not. We do not plan on having kids like really close together or anything like that. So they each have, honestly, like his younger sister and him are the closest, and they're 10 years apart. So,
great.
Like she lives in New York and everything, and he's from California. So we got her to come over here.
My brother is 10 years older than me. My sister's 7 years older than me. Yeah. I do think that having a large age gap is a good idea for the parents for sure.
Yeah. And like, I'm tired. I only have 1, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's tiring. Yeah, it's a lot of work. Also because, you know, we're supposed to be doing this in a village.
Yeah.
And you know, we were talking.
I heard someone say this the other day and I was like, wow, yeah.
Yeah, and like really 2 of the very primary village members aren't there. And that's significant. Like, thank God for Danny's mom. And
I know, we're trying to get her to like move part-time here.
Can she
have a nanny. Shelby's amazing.
Thank God for nannies.
Yes, yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah?
Now, you're both Brooklyn moms. Also both married to Dans, by the way.
Oh, my God.
Love a Dan.
Love a Dan.
We love a Dan around here.
Is it Daniel full?
It is Daniel.
Okay, is Daniel full too?
Yeah.
But when you're thinking about having, Daniela, you have 2. When you were thinking about a second, does space come into play? Because, I mean, you're big Brooklyn girls.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, my God. Yeah, that's true.
You love BK.
I'm not practical like that, so my mind didn't even think of... That hadn't even been a process in my head yet.
No, space is a real thing.
Yeah.
My kids share a room.
Yeah.
And I think it's cute, but it's also like, babies are loud. Toddlers are loud. They wake each other up. Tired people are grumpy. Grumpy people are mean.
Yeah.
You know, that's a real thing. You know, we're supposed to be outside a lot, although you have an upstate place.
Yeah.
Do you go every weekend?
We were going every weekend, and then I swear we keep having like a birthday party or something the last like 2 months, and it's been really hard. We've only gone up like 2 or 3 times, but I'm hoping this summer we will be.
Yeah, but you're really good with space. That's the thing. Like, you optimize the space really well.
Yeah.
Did you go to school for design?
No. I dropped out of college and moved to New York.
How did you come to your life? I mean, you're like a miracle. Like what? You're like
some of the most badass
miracle.
successful people that I know, like coming from me, a college graduate, either didn't go at all or dropped out.
Yeah,
like literally aces.
Yeah, no, it's funny. Like there's so many people like that. Like even my husband's dad. And he works for like a bread company. He doesn't anymore. Actually, now he has his own bread company. But he invented the recipe for the chalupa. Fun fact.
Casual.
And he moved from Israel when he was like 14, and he never went to college and is extremely successful. And honestly, for him, he has a great work ethic and he's really innovative.
Yeah.
And he had to be like, he moved to America and had to.
I love that.
And I think that that's like obviously not the same. And I've been blessed in a lot of ways that I don't think that Eric, Danny's dad, had the same convenience of that. But I just had like, if I wanted to move to New York and I wanted to make my life be what it is, and I had no one to help me. So I had to figure it out. And I worked retail for a long time. Like when I first moved, I actually used to live on Thompson. And that was like my first year that I lived in New York. And in Soho, yeah.
Just giving everyone the lay of the land,
I got like literally such a small amount of money from my parents dying from my inheritance. I sold my car, and that was like built into like my inheritance thing. I sold my car, which wasn't worth that much because it did not have it didn't even have a stereo. Like it had AC, but it was like roll down windows. But it was like a new car. But my stepmom's kind of crazy, and she asked for it to have none of like the whistles, basically.
Oh.
So
thanks, stepmom.
Yeah, we won't get into the stepmom drama in case she still lurks my life, which I actually don't know. But so this was the car that I had. So once I sold it, I literally paid my friend's mom because she didn't trust me. Understandably, I was 18 to pay my rent. So I paid her like all of my money from that, like for like 6 months to live there up front from like the car and everything. So after that, my first job here, I was a personal assistant. And then I worked at Madewell, like literally on Broadway.
Wow.
And I worked there for probably 2 years, like a year and a half, 2 years. And then I worked at And God We Trust, IGWT was the name. It was a play on like money because most of the things were made in New York specifically. And it's sad they don't have a store here anymore, but it was really cool. And the reason I learned about it is Madewell used to carry these little lockets that said funny little sayings like fuck my face and stuff like that. Nice. And that was like the whole vibe of it. And from working there, I feel like that was around the time that I don't know. I felt like I started taking photography more. I would do photography for random, like even the personal assistant I worked for, I would go to events for him to take just photography of people just vibing and stuff like that for his blog. And I've always been obsessed with blogs. And then from then, a friend of mine who I ended up working for later, Jaglever is her handle name. She moved down the street from the Williamsburg location of the store that I worked at. And I was like, do you want to come in and like, just like try on some stuff and like hang out, blah, blah, blah. And she actually came in and she was like a big influencer at the time. It was like a lookbook.nu girl, if anybody knows what that was. And then I started working for her. And then from there, just, I always say though, like, it's just, with social media, you just have to like show up and do it for a long time.
Yeah, but I'm not even talking about your social media skills, which are great. I mean, they are. You are super consistent
now it's changed
in your video
so much,
style and your writing, and yes, absolutely. But what about the design?
You've made real
element?
friends also, which is amazing. Which you also have made real. You've both made like real, honest to God friendships.
I'm going to make Noelle my.
I know you will. I have no doubt.
We're gonna get Drew Barrymore up in here.
We got Danny, and I'll speak to your father-in-law in Hebrew. It's gonna be great.
Oh my God, he would love that. He would love that. Truly.
Yeah, but I mean, but the design element, your skill is like off the chain.
Thank you.
It really is.
How did you do that? And were you always super artistic as a child?
I feel like, my mom was a dance and art teacher, so I feel like it's just like in me. Again, like I wish that that's a part of my life that I could have tapped into more. And I did dance for 10 years, but that part is not within me anymore. I'm a terrible dancer, but I like to dance. But I mean, actually, when I went to school, I wanted to major in art. And then I was like, there's definitely nothing that's going to work out for me in this. And then my friend was moving to New York, so that was a big part of the pull there. But I've always loved photography. I've always loved clothes. And the element of not really high fashion clothes, I've always really loved having a really approachability to it and it being for everyone. Just like the normalness of it and the daily life of it. Versus, like, don't get me wrong, I love like a fun photo shoot sometimes too. But I think just, I don't know, your average outfit is so fun.
Oh no, I've bought so many quote unquote average outfits, like items. Thank you. Like there's
from what she shares,
yes.
right? Yeah, ditto.
So literally, like,
thanks, guys.
Like
thank you.
Cropped, like tiny shirt to go underneath other shirts,
Yeah.
which you have a million of. I now have a million of.
Yeah.
Like there are just so many good everyday pieces that you're like giving. First of all, it's saving us all time. I don't have to look for it.
Yeah. Well, because when you go on their website too, you're only seeing it on one, other than the few brands that actually have branched out, you're seeing it on one type of body type. And, I got tig old bitties. So.
Yeah. No, can we get into that a little bit, actually?
Yeah.
How did you come to, I mean, you're basically modeling, like, on your page for sure. Like, how did you come to sort of cast yourself in that role? How did you sort of feel like, I'm going to show you how this looks on, my body as opposed to the same old body that we're used to seeing?
I think it's crazy actually looking back at photos because in the blogger space, I was probably only one size bigger than a lot of, especially in the beginning, like I'm talking like 9-10 years ago, I was probably only one size bigger. I was probably a 4, sometimes a 6. And that was like,
which is tiny.
When I look at photos, I'm like, it's crazy because that was probably when I had the most toxic relationship with my body.
Yeah, 4 or 6. That's like a classic toxicity of like,
And a big part of it was like, and it still is, the fashion industry. And at that time, I think I still really idolized this certain vibe that's more high fashion. And even though I wasn't like that at all, I just think I didn't know any better. That was really what was out there. And there weren't that many other options or many other influencers. And that's really what you saw was more of that. It was like the acne girl, like, very...
It was magazines.
Yeah.
You came up with magazines. Blogs were refreshing. Once that became, and even still then, the space was really...
even still then. And it was kind of around that time that it started changing. And honestly, in the beginning, I did feel uncomfortable because I felt like, and again, like I'm saying, I was like one size bigger than the other girls that I really looked up to. I felt like I shouldn't be doing this, like that I wasn't the right size to be doing this.
You're the perfect size.
And then I was like, at some point I was like, I just love doing this. I don't care. And I just started sharing like consistently. Even before I had anybody watching what I was doing, I still uploaded to Instagram like so many times a day. This was back when people really would upload like 3 times a day. But I just loved it. I just loved uploading.
Like posting?
Yeah. I would just share my outfit. Again, y'all, I probably had like
the day,
45 people following me and every single one of them just being my friends. And I would upload like my outfit, just a pretty angle of like a coffee shop, just because I love doing it. And I always have. And that is really, I just started doing it. And then along the way, getting older, I got on birth control at some point that actually definitely contributed to my body changing and shifting. And that entire process is just, I just show up and be me, whatever size that is. And now I have like a neutralness about it. I definitely, don't get me wrong, there's days, and I think especially postpartum, there were days that were harder where I think it was more going through this journey where I felt like my body wasn't mine, and then breastfeeding and really feeling like my body wasn't mine. And now I finally kind of feel like I'm on the other side of that. But yeah, I love doing it. Like I'm like, I don't care. Even if there were like 10 people that just liked seeing me do it, I would still do it for the 10 people.
I love that.
I just love it. I just think it's fun.
It's a testament, though, to your success on the internet. I believe when you do things from a completely, a place of true love and enjoyment, it's easier to keep it going because you don't feel burdened by it, because it is a lot. Like, it's a lot. People don't realize how much goes into it. But
oh my God, I spent like 10 hours yesterday working on that Wes Anderson video that I uploaded last night.
It was so good.
It took so long. Me and my assistant did it. It took so long.
Yeah, like, so tell us about what goes into your content. Like, what's a day in the life?
A day in the life.
Because you're also a mommy, which I'm sure has changed the day in the life, right?
Yeah, it has changed a lot. And honestly, I actually really love, I like sharing this new version where I do like sharing photos with Ever, and if I potentially feel uncomfortable sharing her one day, I'm still like, I don't know. I feel, I don't know. But, I like, when I take photos with her, there's this unperfectness because I'm getting 5 to 10 shots and that is what it is. And she's not. That's like, there's a beautifulness in that of having, it's kind of like when you shoot on film and you're not taking like a ton of shots. And I like just, I don't know, again, it's tied into I love sharing the little moments in my life that I just think are beautiful. And I'm like, maybe other people can enjoy this beautiful moment too. Or it might inspire them to like go take a few pictures with their baby in Central Park or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or feel like it's okay. I actually had a lot of people message me because last week our nanny took a vacation and I got invited to this really cool Marvelous Mrs. Maisel event where the cast is going to be there. And I asked them, I was like, it's okay. Like, no worries if not, but is it okay if I bring my daughter? And they were like, yeah, totally, of course. And she was actually a huge hit with the cast. And Rachel, I always say her last name wrong.
Brosnahan.
Yeah. She has to hold Ever, and it was so cute. And I think I got so many messages because I shared that with them, and that so many women were like, I would be so scared to bring my kids, or I'd be nervous to even ask them. So like, thank you for sharing this, because it honestly might inspire me next time I'm invited to something really cool and I think I can't bring my kids, or that everybody's going to be annoyed, that I should go for it.
I actually find that the entertainment industry is pretty kid friendly.
Yeah.
We like cute
There's some of their grandkids, the actors' grandkids were there and stuff.
I used to bring my babies to auditions, and I would just like, when they were babies and they were easy to hand off, my son more than my daughter, because of COVID and because of their temperaments, they would just, sit with the actors in the waiting room, and then I'd go audition and come out, and not necessarily for like TV and film, but certainly for commercials. That was very, very common. There would always be a school-age kid doing their homework in the waiting room. Now it's different because like we're doing all of our auditions and callbacks. Most of our callbacks are from home, so it's a little bit different.
Which I hate. Personally, I hate that all of the casting and stuff it's so squarely remote still, and the fact that hasn't come back hybrid is bizarre.
Okay.
But my question, not question, but remembrance is when COVID was dying down and you were rehearsing for that play.
Yeah,
you did bring the kids with you, correct?
Well, the play was really dark, so I didn't end up bringing them to rehearsal. But when I do concerts,
singing.
I sing and it's light and I have a song and then I'm watching another person sing, like, and my mom can come, or the babysitter. Like actors love kids.
Yeah,
actors are kids.
It was literally like you're a magnet to all of the actors. It was so funny.
Yeah,
and it honestly made it like even more fun. It was awesome.
Yeah, I think there comes a point where it can be hard to focus. I don't know if you have this experience where you're like,
my mom brain was mush. My conversation like that I could hold was definitely to a limitness.
Yeah, because you're like, you want to keep the baby like comfortable and all that. Or even when you're doing like writing, I was telling Laura that like, you know, when I need to write, like that's harder for me because I can't actually juggle like being with my kids and like writing something meaningful or editing something. So like
I know exactly what you mean. Even an Instagram caption, I have to go get somewhere and be in my zone. I can't. It's hard. It's just, I think a part of your brain is just so focused on your kids. And it just is like a human thing.
I mean, it's literally like, you know, biology. And children are loud.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like biology, the more it's also volume, talk, you know?
Yeah. The more I talk, ever like tries to talk at the same time that I'm talking. So if I'm like on a conference call, I have to go away because then she starts talking. She's like, ah!
When did you get your nanny? Like, how old was she? How was that process of hiring someone that you love? To love her.
Well, I'm trying to think. It was August or September. And our nanny was actually, hiring a nanny was a terrifying process. Terrifying. And it's not, I used to be a nanny, and that both brings me comfort and also makes me terrified at the same time. Uh-huh. And that was another one of my random jobs that I had for like a year or two in New York before I, got into what I'm in now. But I forget the website, but we were on a website. My husband kept like messaging with people, and we did a few phone interviews, and some of the answers were insane. Like, obviously any job is like, what's something that you think you're not great at? Like, blah, blah, blah. And one of the people that we interviewed was like, oh, well, when the baby is crying and is upset and you can't figure out like what they want, that really stresses me out. And I was like, we're done. Like, I was like, that's literally your only job.
I'm
like, if you feel comfortable telling me this answer, then that means there's a whole lot more here. And so going through that process, I was just like, okay, none of these are it's hard hiring people. I think even like employees, like in my job in general, it's just hard. It's like not a fun process.
But you do it. You would have to do it because you're working on a really high level.
You're
momming on a really high level.
Yeah, no,
you're fucking cute and lovely when you walk into a room. You would have to have support. I mean, really.
Yeah, no. And I even feel like even with all that, there is like a section of my brain that's just permanently fried. But then, so my friend Steffi, her assistant or past assistant, actually, she has a new, that she all left on good terms, but she still does like some of my like Depop like clothes. Like I like resell some of my clothes.
Oh, that's smart.
And
can I buy some?
Thank you. I mainly do it. I honestly donate like most of the profits from it, but I do it out of like a clothes reuse like thing. I don't know.
I'm right down the block. I can come swing by.
Yeah. Well, so she came by though to get the clothes, and she had her friend Shelby with her, and I ever needed to eat. I'd whipped out the boob, was feeding Ever, and Shelby was really interested in Ever and was just being really sweet with Ever, and they were just I got really good vibes. And I was like, if I'm looking for a nanny. If you know anyone who is that you think might be good, like send them my way, blah, blah, blah. Because I didn't want to insinuate that they would want to be my nanny. But I was like, if you know anyone, like let me know. And Shelby was like, oh my God, they were working like at another store at the time. And they were like, I would really love to. Like, I'm going to send you my resume tonight, blah, blah, blah. And they did, and like we love Shelby's like a part of the family now.
Shelby, we love you.
We love you, Shelby.
We couldn't have this conversation without Shelby.
Yeah, no, quite literally.
No, like an actual literal conversation could not be had without Shelby.
Literally. No, I think about how like I don't know. It's hard because I take Ever to baby class, and I have seen some nannies that don't like
engage.
Not that you necessarily need to connect with the baby. Shelby really does connect with Ever, but they just don't love what they're doing, or they don't, it's not for them. And it's really hard because obviously the kid doesn't understand it. It breaks my heart. Like,
Yeah.
It's wild. When I lived in Battery Park City, because it's just very family focused, I think it's a lot of new parents that are deciding if they want to even stay in New York or move to the burbs. It's very much the vibe.
yeah.
And, you know, there's a park and you can't avoid it. That, you know, and you see so many of these nannies that are literally just on their phone or talking to one another.
Yeah.
And like, not at all. I'm like, I could steal these kids.
Yeah.
I could steal all these kids.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing.
And if I'm noticing it, I don't have any kids.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, but you were a kid, so you know how painful that is. But I
was a nanny, and I think about, like, I remember there were some days where I was really exhausted because I had like 2.5 jobs at that point, and it's like such a hard like give and take in that whole situation because I recognize that for some people they're just hustling so hard, and that's a part of why they're checked out or they're so exhausted and they're just trying to like make ends meet. But it's the kid that doesn't understand, and that's what breaks my heart.
Yeah.
For especially just the little babies. Like, it's just.
I had to stop teaching because I was too sensitive to that experience.
Yeah.
Actually, I was teaching little kids, and I saw a couple of things, but I saw this one nanny like pull a baby by her legs to like move her, and I was just like,
No, yeah, it's stuff like that.
I know that baby is cared for and all of it, but for me and my eyeballs, I can't see it. That said, without that nanny, that mom can't provide a good life for those children.
Yeah.
So maybe not that nanny in particular, but what you said earlier, like, it is very hard to find assistants. It's hard to find nannies. It's hard to find editors. It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard to be a boss. It's hard. This is hard, and it's important.
Yeah.
Because
some people love that and they thrive at that. That is not me.
like outsource? I don't know.
Like, yeah, some people really do have great hiring skills. They can do great interviews and they genuinely thrive at stuff like that. That's not me.
So far, so good. I got to give it to you. So far, so good. Because otherwise, you know, I never had a nanny. And like the few times that I had like a real babysitter, I would just like stick around because I'm like, I haven't had the experience where I'm like, I trust this person absolutely. Yeah. No questions asked.
Yeah. I also work from home most of the time, so that helps that I am
it does
there
help.
A lot for sure.
Yeah. But I do think that trust is really important. That like, if we want women in the workforce, and there are some women who really, you know, want to be at home, and I am a huge advocate of like, let's make that happen for them too.
Yeah.
But if we do want women in leadership, we also need their children to be taken care of.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need that.
Yeah. And it's hard, like, mentally, that if you don't feel like that's happening, like, that's hard.
Yeah. I'm
they're
so happy
also
that's happening
intimately in your they're also intimately in your space. So like for me it would be almost more about like how sounds insane, but like how they were like, I have to interact with you.
No, that does not sound insane. That is a huge part.
That's a huge part. A huge part. And I think working from home, that affects like the whole energy of my workflow and me. And if I feel comfortable like talking to the camera or filming something, I mean, I have to film in my underwear a lot because I share a lot of like just body positive things or, you know, just getting ready with me and stuff like that. And, you know, it had to be someone that felt like that was an environment that they felt okay with being in too.
Totally.
And didn't feel uncomfortable in. So
talking about body positivity, you have a daughter.
Yes.
What do you hope for her?
Oh my God. I actually was thinking about this earlier because I was listening this past week. I've been listening to like some of your episodes and things like that.
Yeah.
And this, one of like the interviews like made me think about this. And it's so hard for me because I know, so my mom had a body type nothing like mine. She was like 6'2", was a ballerina and was extremely, extremely thin and had a ballerina body. Like that was her body type. And my dad also was really tall, but definitely like my body type is more from his side of the family. And for her, I am already trying to get in the habit where I don't like say there's so many different phrases that, and I feel like I'm going to mess up saying some of these right now, but even, for example, being like, wow, you ate all of that and you want more, like things like that really making sure I don't say things like that. And, or even being like, it's hard because honestly, I really am for the most part in a really good place with myself. So I really don't try something on and be like, oh shit, this doesn't fit. Like I feel awful. But I think being more conscious of that, because I really do want her to, unfortunately, social media, the negatives of it, I see so many young kids and the impact that it has on them negatively, that there's certain things that are going to be out of my control in that regard. But I really just want
her mom, dude.
Yeah,
That's
I want her to see
imprint.
a mom that has a good relationship with her body, and that she, because they say it's like something crazy, like 72% of little girls see their body based on how their mom sees their body. And it's like a huge statistic. And honestly, for a lot of people that I think suffer with eating disorders, a lot of it will stem down to the way that their mom either talked about them or the way that their mom talked about themselves, like, and one or the two or both. And that breaks my heart. And my mom was like a pageant mom, so I kind of feel like my experience with my body might have been harder.
You were the pageant girl, or she was?
She was. And
it might have been harder if she had.
I think that my relationship with my body might have been harder because my body was nothing like her body. And, I think that she just grew up in the place that was very like Southern lady needs to look this certain type of way. I mean, when I was like 2 until probably when my mom got diagnosed around when I was 6, I slept in foam rollers every night because my mom really liked like the Shirley Temple, like curly cute. Yeah.
I mean, you must have looked really cute.
I looked really cute. I also had sun in my hair, so my hair was blonde. Yeah. It goes, the Southern vibes go deep if you look at my baby pictures.
So deep.
I look cute as hell.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet.
But yeah, I think I would have a little bit more of some toxicness.
What happened after?
In there. Then, I mean, all that was, I definitely have a few weird things from my stepmom and from like that relationship that was really hard. But, and just from like bullying in general.
You were bullied?
Oh my God. I'll never forget. Wow. One girl told me, I was bullied both from a body hair point of view and also from I'll never forget. I was bullied by boys. And that's actually like I actually transferred high schools. I went to a private school my freshman year. And everybody called me, I say everybody, this group of guys.
Yeah, but it felt like everybody because that
felt like everybody. Yeah. And everybody knew about it. It was like it wasn't that big of a school. They called me Warrior Woman and said that I had cankles. And that like really, I didn't understand a lot of it. And honest to God, I still don't. They would draw like playing cards of me, but it would be like really these like really just like not nice thing. The time and detail that these kids went into this is crazy. And they ended up getting suspended. Is suspended whenever you're like off for a few days? Yeah, for a few days. And then I really had to transfer schools because everybody hated me. But that, I mean, there was a time a girl told me my eyebrows were really bushy. So I literally shaved off like from the middle of my eyebrows to here.
The eyebrow bullying is real. That was real when I was little. I mean, the body hair bullying is a very real thing.
Yes. And that was from a girl. That wasn't even from a guy.
I grew up with a lot of Persian Jews and like we're all hairy.
Yeah.
So I don't remember anyone bullying anyone because it was just like everyone was fucking hairy.
Oh my God. That sounds liberating.
Yeah, but like, but now I'm thinking about like Southern, the curls, the sun in. Right.
Yes, like that. If that trajectory like would have continued for me, I feel like I would have fit in more, actually. But I wouldn't have been accepting myself.
Right. So this is the thing. Like, I'm like listening to you, and I'm thinking, what was the journey from being bullied, from all of that, to being sort of the poster child of loving your body truly? I mean, I hear you.
I feel like
your neutrality around your size, your love in your skin. I see your pictures. That Coachella carousel was
oh my God. I post that every year because people love it.
Because it's art.
Because people get a lot of saves because you don't see like just like the big booby curvy girls like wearing, especially wearing like more revealing outfits
really
to Coachella.
You really don't.
What was that journey like? And
I think
was there a moment in time where you were just like, actually, I'm going to have fun with this. I don't care if you like me. I like me.
It's like, it's complicated because J.K. Rowling has a little bit of, it's like, you know, but really honestly, Harry Potter, and this sounds ridiculous.
No, I know a lot of people who Harry Potter changed their life.
Yes.
Tell me.
And honestly, movies like that, but that was really one of like the big defining ones. And this sounds like so silly, I think now being 31 to like say out loud, like the like beacon of hope that I think feeling like an outcast, feeling like this kid that like doesn't have the right stuff, doesn't fit in. And I also didn't have a mom to like talk about any of this with. Really just made me feel like when you look at, for better or for worse, when you look at so many movies about like dead parents, the kid comes out on top. Like they like end up making this beautiful life for themselves. And they work really hard to like make it happen. And that honestly, like even like all these Disney movies that are like that and stuff like that always gave me so much hope.
Oliver, The Lion King.
Yeah, like all
Bambi.
And in most Disney movies, the parents are like Frozen. Like literally,
Frozen.
There's like a consistency that's always there.
Right, because, you know, first of all, it like hooks the child in, but it's like such high stakes.
Yeah. I think that they all derive from these like old stories where, I mean, maybe just at the time, adults died more. I don't know.
Maybe, but then you saw yourself.
Yeah, yeah. And again, Harry Potter being like one of the biggest ones, I read the books, and that was really... I just always had this hope that I was going to have this like magical power type of thing within me and be able to do something that I loved.
And you do.
You
did.
Yeah.
This is why I think art is so important.
Yeah.
Storytelling is so important. Like you saw yourself and that mirror was life changing.
Yeah.
Life affirming.
Yeah.
You weren't alone.
Yeah. And
you were the hero. You actually are the hero.
Yes. That's like more, I feel like the wannabe actress in me, that's always how I kind of felt. Like as if it all would, if I worked hard enough that like I would be able to do something that I loved, which honestly is what I do. I wanted to do it since I was like 16 years old. My first class always used to be computer class, and I would log in and like look at like Sea of Shoes and Fashion Toast and like all of these girlies that at the time were like, I don't know, they just were really big bloggers. But the best part is they weren't even getting paid for it. It was just, they just loved doing it. And that, yeah, I always wanted to move to New York. I've probably seen The Devil Wears Prada like 500, upward of 500 times.
It's a good film.
It's so good. The soundtrack's really good.
The soundtrack's really good?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. No, it's a really great film. And you did it.
Yeah.
You totally did it.
Yeah. I can't believe I actually cried whenever everybody thinks that I paid to have a nice view at my hospital room. I really didn't. We really just got this really beautiful view. And
where did you deliver?
At Mount Sinai West.
Me too.
Oh my God.
I was thinking, that's why I asked, because I was like, wait, I had a really good view too.
It was a really beautiful view. Of course, like there's like a Reddit page that's dedicated to like hating on me and my friend group. And they think,
oh my gosh, you really made it.
I guess. Yeah. And they think that I paid to have this room, and I really didn't. I just happened to get this room, which and looking out the window, holding my daughter that was born in New York City, I was just like, I don't know, it was such like a feeling of, wow. Like I made my life look exactly how I wanted my life to look.
And feel?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like your love with Danny?
Yeah.
So special.
Yeah.
How'd you meet?
Oh my God, I was working retail. And this is actually a funny story. So at the store, IGWT and Gotta Be Trusted, I was working at in Williamsburg. It was on Bedford. he came in, and I'll never forget, he had this cool oversized trench coat, which turns out was his friend's and he was borrowing, and these like big oversized black headphones, and he just looked really cool. His hair was like very 80s. Like, it's funny because now he's very buttoned up and isn't a vibe like that anymore. But we know it's still within him. He came in.
He's a vibe.
It was very like he's the type of guy who used to ask for like a certain kind of haircut, but now he's, I don't know. It's hard to explain. But so
he's a dad. He has other priorities.
Yeah, he's a dad. He's a professional man now. But he came in to the store, and I was helping him, and I honestly like loved working retail. I really loved like selling things and helping people like figure out what was going to work for them, or honestly the same thing, like making people feel great in what they were buying or what they were wearing, or people being like, oh, that's not good for my body type, and just being like, fuck that. Like that's who the magazines that fed us that bullshit, like that's done. And so even him trying shirts on, I was like, he needed another size. And I was like, I actually just got it transferred. If you want, I can grab it out of the back. You can try it on, blah, blah, blah. And he tried it on, and I was just like, oh my God, it looks so cute on you. Like, you look so good. And it really did. We still have the shirt actually to this day. And I was like, you look so cute in this shirt, like blah, blah, blah. And especially men are like, that aren't used to that, like, he was so nervous, and I could tell I was making him really nervous. So I was trying like to lay off of it a little bit because I didn't want to make him too nervous. And then whenever he was checking out, which he always loves to say, he was buying the shirt that he absolutely had no money to buy the shirt, but he was buying it because that's how good I was at my job.
Nice.
And he was checking out, and I was asking him, he just moved to New York like a week or two before, and I was like, oh, one of my roommates is actually going to be moving out. Like, let me give you my number, and if you want to like come see the room or anything, like blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then I'm like midway through, I'm like, because this is the thing, hot guys came into like this place all the time. It was like a minefield for hot guys. But rarely like were they actually into me, or a lot of the time like they were already seeing someone, like whatever it was. And I was just being casual, not even thinking this guy would be into me, like just normal. And then midway through I start realizing, I'm like, wait, I think this guy is kind of into me. And I'm giving him my number to be my roommate.
He's the love of your life.
Like, I was like, what? Why am I giving him my... so then, you know, whenever your thoughts start shifting like midway through when you're doing something, and then you can hardly hold a conversation and you're kind of like mentally freaking out. That was me. And I'm like giving him my number, but then I'm like, oh my God, like this guy's cute. And I was just like, okay, like bye. Like I'll see you later. Cause I was like, this can't get any weirder. Like he needs to go. So I was just like, bye, like I'll see you later. And he actually called his friend and was like, should I text her? Or do you think she really just wants me to be her roommate? Like, I don't know.
Well, I just need everyone to know that Laura's dying in the background. Because you ended up roommates. I mean, you got your way.
No, we did.
She's the hero, guys. She's the hero of the story.
So then he ended up texting me, and we did end up getting drinks, and the rest is history. But no, he did end up moving in with me, like literally like 3 months later.
Wow.
And that's why I'm always like, any of my friends, if they move in really quick, I have to catch myself and be like, no, I can't even judge. I can't judge you. I'm like,
me and my husband have been together since we're 18, and
I was 21. Yeah,
we moved in fairly quickly out of necessity. Also, it was, and been living together ever since.
Literally, for the first like month or two that he lived with me, my roommates didn't even know. I was just like sneaking him like in and out at the same time that I was, and then he would go like just work at a coffee shop and stuff like that. And yeah, but that's how we met.
I love it so much. I love it so much. I love your posts about him. I'm just like a big fan. So,
thank you. I appreciate it. Really. Y'all made me feel that anytime you need an ego boost, please have me back.
Oh,
because this was the ego boost that I needed.
Oh, great. Great. Okay, so we do like to just give our girls and our guys a heads up about motherhood where we can. So if you have any parting words.
Yeah. I'm like, how long do we have for these parting words?
I don't know. What would you say to someone interested in the mom life? Maybe
someone they're interested in motherhood, like they're thinking that they maybe it's for them.
Yeah, like what didn't people tell you besides the sleeplessness?
The sleeplessness, yeah, that's like probably number one. If you feel called to motherhood or being a mom, for me, it's the most beautiful journey that I have ever been on. Like, I think that I have a unique point of view where I didn't have my mom. So all these memories that I make with my daughter are so special to me. And I just like love her so much. I never knew that I could be so connected to someone ever. And everybody says to me,
get it? Ever?
Yeah, ever. I know. Anytime I read a book and it says ever to him, I was like, ever. And I also everybody's like, oh, you think you love like your partner so much, but then when you have a kid, like it does like shift and change, and it's so true.
It's a different kind of love.
It is different.
And the love that you share with now, like the father of your child is different.
Yeah.
Even though that was a really cute story you told. I really liked it.
No, it's really cute.
Will you come back?
Yeah. And anytime.
Laura really wants us to be friends, and I'm into that.
Let's do it.
Okay. But now back to the show. So where can we find you?
You can find me pretty much across most socials at Noelle Downing. NoelleDowning.
And I'm Daniela. Thanks for listening, guys. Catch you next week. Thank you, as always, for listening to the Mom Curious podcast. My name is Daniela Rabbani. I am your host, and I would love to continue this conversation at Daniela Rabbani on Instagram. And if you'd be so kind to rate and review, share this podcast, I would be just really grateful. Catch you next time, every Tuesday on the Mom Curious podcast, produced by Hoff Studios. You can find them at Hoff Studios on Instagram as well. All right, have a great day.